we are here in Chapman's Boxing Academy in Maesteg. Is that correct?
Yeah, DC Boxing Academy.
DC Boxing Academy in Maesteg with Daniel Chapman. Daniel, this is a gym you've opened up recently. I believe you've got one of the very best boxers in the world training here with you. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, me and Andrew SELBY have known each other a long, long time. We know each other so well that we've gone to places like Russia, Azerbaijan, some third world countries for weeks and months on end, and living with each other every single day. I think we can say we know each other quite well. Over the years, it's been great to see Andrew progress with his boxing. Going to 2012 Olympics, and the only fight he lost to was Ramirez, the Cuban, who went on to win a gold medal. And Andrew was, well, it still is such a fantastic, phenomenal fighter. As he's turned over to the pro ranks, it's just great to see him now back in a good place, and basically ready to show the whole of Britain and the world what he's made of.
So if we just go back to last March, I think it was, Andrew boxed in Mexico in a WBC world title eliminator. We all know, obviously, the fight didn't go Andrew's way. Andrew obviously was disappointed. He came back to Wales, back to the UK, and tell us where you came in.
Going to the fight in Mexico, I think, like you said, Tony Borg is a fantastic coach, for one. He's a good friend of mine. He's been in the amateur game longer than anyone and worked with the pros. And to be fair, I don't think the camp could have gone better when he went for Mexico. He had a 13-week camp. But again, was Andrew enjoying boxing is the question. Was he turn up to training with a positive and a great mental attitude? And I don't think he was. And to me, as any fighter who's not enjoying boxing, the question is are we going to see the best out of him? And that's 100% no. Leading up to the Mexico fight then, I think fighting a Mexican over in Mexico with no TV coverage, I think it was just a poor decision myself. I wouldn't have allowed that to happen if Andrew was with me. But again, at the end of the day, like you said, Andrew was in a position where he wanted the money, and at the end of the day, he was a world title eliminator, and that would have led to a massive fight with Charlie Edwards. And as people behind the scenes in the boxing world would know, that Andrew was beating Charlie already in the amateurs. So that would have been a fantastic fight. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. Andrew had a loss, which worked out in my favour, because you know what? When someone goes through a tough time, right, you need people there to support you. When Andrew went through a tough time, I don't think people were there to support him. People were there when he was doing great and everything was going, the way he wanted to. But again, it's all about who you hang around with, who you bother with. It's what type of people you have around you, setting an example, and I don't think Andrew had that at the time. The only example, a good example he had, was his brother Lee SELBY, who was a current world champion. But Lee knew that Andrew wasn't in a great place, and he agreed of moving to Maesteg, and his dad, and we all work together because we all want the best for Andrew, because it's not about the boxing, it's just making sure that Andrew's in a good place, and Andrew is in a good place now because we've worked so hard. And now we train in 2 to 3 times a day, every day. His nutritionist is working a fantastic job with Andrew, making sure Andrew is hydrated every day, and with his food, make sure he's got the right nutrients in his body to get the best out of Andrew in every boxing session. This is the best I've seen Andrew just because of his nutrition. Again, every fighter leading up to a fight, if they are not well fueled up, I suppose, then are we going to see the best of that fight in the ring? And it's not. And it's not even just about the food, it's the hydration. I don't think the biggest fall we have in boxing at the minute is, can fighters stay hydrated whilst making their weight? And nine times out of 10, that's not the case, because, as you know, in the boxing world, they drop a lot of weight. But again, you have that 24-hour period to rehydrate. And, that doubt in your own mind, if you haven't made your boxing weight properly, as a fighter, you ain't going to box to your best ability.
I believe Andrew's got a big fight coming up on the 13th of September in Dubai. I know you've been training here with him. Will you be in the corner with him on the night? Have you got your trainer's license yet?
Just leading up to the fight to Dubai, I just want to apologise to all the British fans that it is in Dubai, because Andrew has a massive British following. everyone loves Andrew because the skills that he brings to the ring are just, you can't really learn it or teach it. You know, Andrew puts those skills in the ring, and everyone is just so shocked how talented he is and how naturally talented he is. He can do things in the gym that people would only dream would like to do in the gym, even, not even in the ring. So yeah, you know, obviously we have other fights and events coming up our way. You know, it can be Manchester, Newcastle. November the 9th, we hopefully to get him on in the Cardiff at the Vale with them on an MTK show. So, you know, giving back to the British fans, and that's what we want to do. Leading up to this fight, I am going through my pro licence at the minute. I'm just waiting to being seen by the British Boxing Board so I can progress with that. I have my full amateur boxing licence anyway, so I just, for me, is that Andrew's only going to be the best when I'm in his corner. We have MTK obviously are working with me to make sure that Andrew in Dubai has a solid corner man. You've got the likes of Ben Davison, Danny Vaughan, which is all part of the MTK team. So at the end of the day, he isn't, everything that we've worked in the gym will be displayed in the ring, but further fights, I want to be in the corner. I want to be there because everything we worked on in the gym, we can speak about in the corner.
You recently been to the MTK training camp in Marbella, yourself and Andrew. We all saw your videos online. Kept us entertained for a few days. Looked like you had a great time and a lot of hard work put in as well. What was that whole experience like?
Yeah, like you said, Tom Stalker was our team Olympic captain on the 2012 team. So Tom and Andrew and I know each other very well, and it's great that he's one of the ambassadors of MTK. I went over to Marbella on a holiday with my wife, and I said, I better stop off at the gym because I wanted to catch up with some of the guys. And James Dickens was there. Me and Tom had a very long chat. This is before Andrew moved to Maesteg. And me and him were banging our heads together. And the first thing he said, said, Dan, can you have some conversation with Andrew? I said, funny enough, we talk all the time. I bring him up the gym to have boxing sessions with the kids at my gym because that's what I do. And Andrew has turned up every time and never failed to show his talent to the kids and give his advice. But yeah, me and Tom were banging our heads together, and we were thinking, like, how talented is Andrew SELBY? Why isn't he where he should be right now? And me and Tom had lots of conversations, and we worked together as a team. And we said, you know what, let's get him over here. And that's what we did. So, we signed an advisory contract then with MTK, and Tom said, would you like to come over for a week or two training over in Spain? And we said, yeah, that'd be great. That's exactly what Andrew needs right now. And that's what we did. So we went over, and like you said, Andrew said, we had some lovely weather. We had a fantastic gym. It's not really a pro gym. It's just a normal gym out in Marbella. But at the end of the day, that's the likes of Tyson Fury, Billy Joe Saunders, and now Andrew SELBY, and likes of Paddy Barnes like to go over to get away from home and just focus on training. And still enjoy the nice weather, and that's exactly what we did. We went out, we trained 2 to 3 times a day. We had some epic sparring over there that Tom produced for us, and when we wasn't training, we had some fun. No alcohol, strictly Diet Coke, Diet Coke, and we had some good food, and just enjoy training, and Andrew, you could see from the videos that we doing, we had some laughs, but then when we was training, it was some serious training. Some of the spars we had were brutal.
I noticed in a few of the videos that you yourself are actually in the ring, gloved up sparring. You're still obviously very talented boxer, so are you being drawn back into boxing to actually compete as a boxer as well as a trainer?
For me, like when I was on the Olympic team, I had the whole world at my feet. Unfortunately, I already been at 51 kilos for 4 or 5 years, and as soon as I signed a contract with Team GB, you stay that weight for the next 4 years, and I struggled to make the weight, because I was only 17 at the time. All the team members up there, they were on like 150 to 200 fights plus. I was only on 16 fights when I got on the Olympic team as a podium boxer. So, as soon as I started training 4 times a day, my body started to change, and I learned a lot of things from Team GB. We had Rob McCracken, who was our coach. He was a fantastic coach. We had Richie Woodall, which I loved as a coach because I think he got the best out of me when I was on there. But basically, I did really start to struggle with my weight. And this is why I'm so knowledgeable about boxers making weight now, because I learned from my own mistakes. I didn't just do as my coach said. I thought, how can I make my weight better and be the best fighter I could be? And I done lots of errors. And at the time, It didn't last long in the end because, you know, I got released from the Olympic team. But then when I moved up a weight, I just wish I'd done it sooner. I think I could have been 3 years ahead of my career if I moved up a weight at the time, because I didn't make weight properly. I went through a eating disorder. So like I said, for me, it's really important that I give that advice to my boxers, because I don't want them to go through what I went through. And understanding to them and other coaches mainly that moving up weight is it's a good thing. So when I moved up a weight, I was thinking, can Daniel Chapman get any better? I had the whole world on my feet, the Olympic team, training every single day, 3 to 4 times a day. But when I went up a weight, it took me 9 months for my body to recover for all those years of struggling, being dehydrated and not eating the right food. But when I actually did move up a weight, and 9 months later, I started getting stronger, faster. I started actually knocking boys out.
So will we ever see you in a boxing ring competing again? I know you boxed in the BKB, the bare knuckle boxing. Yeah. But will we ever see you boxing with gloves on again?
For me, it's just been as a coach. I love teaching boxing. I love giving it back to the kids who come to the gym from Maesteg, the local community. I have 30 to 40 kids every single day at my gym. And you don't see ex-athletes giving back to the community. You know, I mean, I take my hat off to all the coaches who are out in our local valleys right now. But most of them are the older generation, where they're the ones who got time, so they can open up the gym at those certain hours where most can't because they're working full time. But me as a coach, there's telling and there's teaching. And when a boxer asks me, well, how do I do that? I can break that down and show them exactly how to do it, because I've been there and done it. So for me as a boxer, I just love showing them how to do it and breaking it down for them in a way that they can understand, where it's taken me 20 years to learn. I can show these kids in 3 months. So for me, I'm in love with teaching boxing to the local kids, the men, the women, Andrew as well, and showing them that, you know what, me staying fit and being positive, that I can push Andrew in places that he hasn't been, just because I can do it. I can spar with Andrew, I can take him on the pads, I'm faster than him, I'm stronger than him. So when we work together, that chemistry and that speed together is really frightening.
You mentioned Robert McCracken there, who's the director of the GB boxing programme. I remember speaking to Robert I think it was Carl Froch, George Groves rematch press conference, and he told me a little incident about you trying to make weight, funny enough, when you run a bath in your hotel. Can you just tell us about that?
I'm just going to tell a couple of stories, actually. Me and one of the boys who was on the Olympic team, his name was Lewis Rees. He was a very good friend of mine, a fantastic fighter. If you're from Wales, you'd know who he was. And every time we'd travel to Sheffield, we'd have to drive up in the car, and me and Lewis would always be over our boxing weight. Right? And we'd chuck a sauna on in the car, we'd chuck a sweatsuit on in the car, put the heaters on full blast, close all the windows. For 4 hours on a journey up to Sheffield, we would sweat. And this is what I'm talking about. This is the extremes we done to make weight. And one of the other cases that he was on about with Rob McCracken, and every night I'd run a boiling bath, and I'd sit in it just to make that weight, because I know in the morning I could have a bigger breakfast. I'll drink more fluids, right? And one time I was on my phone and I was watching TV, oh goodness me, and I forgot about the bath was running. And I flooded the whole hotel. Oh. And he said to me, this is the words he said to me, he's just in pure shock and disgust. Because he told us all, like, you should be running baths, because that's not the right way to make the weight. And obviously we done the opposite, we didn't listen. Again, and I flooded the whole hotel, basically. And he said, Dan, wherever you live in Blaenquinvi, which he couldn't even spell, it was Blaenquinvi, he said, you're going to be on your bus, not in 2012, you're going to be going on the bus back to Blaenquinvi if you don't listen. So, after that, I had to listen. I tried not to have many too hot baths. But, that's one of the stories. There's many more.
Most recently, as a competitor, people have watched you in the BKB. There's lots of rumours of you boxing again in BKB, bare knuckle boxing. Is that likely to happen? Are we likely to see you box again in the BKB?
To be fair, the time I've been part of BKB, it's a fantastic organisation. They run things very well. They run in their shows better than any pro show at the minute, I personally believe, because I've been to the pro shows, I've been to the BKB shows, and they set the standard. Fair play to them. They got the right fighters, they got the right base, they got the right foundation. They don't cut corners, and that's what I like about them. They work their socks off. They built from fighting in crappy little barns to now fighting at the O2 you know, so they must be doing something right. And again, with me fighting on those shows, I've loved every single minute of it. You know, the unfortunate side of things that I've been giving away like 3 stone in weight. I'm fighting guys who are 6.5 foot, you know, got bigger than me, stronger than me. But when I've gone in there and I've got my boxing knowledge, I don't think there's anyone in BKB who can live with me. But I've spoke to Jim. I would like another fight. Obviously, I wanted a big name, but, you know, because of the weight difference, and to be honest with you, I don't think any of them want to fight me anyway. But, you know, I don't want to be going in fighting some tough guy because I'm going to end up knocking him out in 30 seconds and then be breaking my hands. I've got too much to lose now with the gym, working with Andrew, and I don't think the British Boxing Board would approve of it anyway now. So my concentration is totally on my gym and working with Andrew SELBY. So that's my ambition at the minute, and that's what I'm going to give every single ounce of my time and energy is into that, just to get those massive results that I know I can get, because very rare you get a world-class fighter walk in your gym who's hungry now because of all the work that we've done. This is the time where we put not just Maesteg and Barry on the map, but it's getting Andrew not to be ranked 10th in the rankings anymore, it's to be number 1.
Just going back to the BKB, I know you've mentioned to me in the past, on camera and off camera, that you'd like to fight Brad Pickett, a UFC legend. I mean, if the BKB could present Brad Pickett as a fight for you, would you be tempted to take the gloves off, so to speak, again?
To be honest with you, again, when Brad fought his last fight, you know, at the end of the experience that he has, and he went in and fought a lovely old chap, Mark, and, you know, and he stopped Mark, he broke his nose. At the end of the day, it was a massive level difference. For me, as I called him out after the fight, and he was, yeah, I'm happy to take it, but I had no signs of, no, Jim didn't say anything about making that fight. So I would have loved that fight, because I only want to fight whoever thinks they're the best, send them at me. You know, and again, you know, I'm very confident in what I do because of my experience and my knowledge. But, you know, I don't think that fight's going to happen. I think Brad is, you know, he's a one-hit wonder now. He's done his stuff in BKB. And he's happily doing what he's got to do. And same as me, I'm happy doing what I got to do at the gym. So my focus is now on Andrew and the gym.
And another thing, of course, you're training world-class fighters like Andrew SELBY. But this gym is a community gym, and you've got lots of local people doing private training. You've also got lots of youngsters, lots of kids. You've got the Maesteg special families. Do you want to just give them a mention? Yeah,
I mean, to be fair, even though how much energy and time I'm going to spend into Andrew knows his place as well. You know, and at the end of the day, he knows it's not just about him. It is about our local community. This gym in Maesteg, it's only a small little place, but I spent a lot of time and money and effort into it, and I've turned it into a fantastic little boxing gym where I work with from children from 5 till 10, 10 to 19. I'm working with men who just want to get fit, and working with men who want to box, and working with people like who are into MMA, so I'm learning them to be better where they stand up. I'm working with women who come also for the fitness, and it's really great because I see a lot at the minute where a lot of people are struggling through mental health, and they don't know how to express themselves. And I've over the years of teaching boxing and fitness and health and nutrition, I think boxing is a fantastic sport to help with mental health. So for me is that, you know, the ones who are not very confident to speak about it, I use their time and their energy and help them get through their days and their weeks and their months by showing them the techniques of boxing and the discipline, and just, you know, bringing that vibe to the gym, bringing it that positiveness, where we live in a world where there's so much negative, and so many people have got lots of things, negative things to say, where when they come here, everything is positive, and we concentrating on their health, and there's no price on health, is there?
Okay, thank you, Daniel. It's really good to speak to you today. And for people who don't know, I've known Daniel since he's about, I think, 7 years old or 8 years old, when he first walked into Gwynfi Amateur Boxing Club with John Radmore. God rest his soul. And it's good to speak to you, mate. It's good to see you doing so well with the gym and working with Andrew, and good luck for the future.
Yeah, cheers, Keith.
Cheers, Dan.